welcome to Life of Ryan. Today I'm gonna be talking about the other signs that I saw in my son that started to make me do more research and ask more questions about certain behaviors that were just getting me really worried. So in the last video I talked about him not responding to his name when being called. He wasn't pointing with his finger. That was another thing that from the evaluation they kind of told me these are things that he needed to do already by the time he was like 24 months old, 2 years old, and he wasn't doing. The other thing that they started to point out is the lack of eye contact. So he wasn't making eye contact that much. It's not like he was always on his own or not wanting to play with me, but he wasn't making that eye contact when being called or when playing with him. The other thing was he wasn't waving goodbye yet. He was already 2 years old and he didn't even know how. I think even though we prompted him to do it, he didn't really know, and that was a big deal. That he was 2 and he wasn't waving goodbye or even attempting to. What else? He was becoming sensitive to certain noises. For example, a happy birthday song, till this day he cannot listen to it without becoming very anxious. Sometimes he'll cry. It just depends, I guess, the situation, where we're at, the tone of the song. The other things, he would flap his hands, not all the time, but it was something that was there. And as I did more research, I started noticing, okay, flapping of the hands is one of those signs of autism. So I started looking more into that. He started spinning around, and it wasn't like he was spinning to get my attention or to be goofy. It was like he was spinning for his own I don't know, for him to feel good. It wasn't like he was trying to be funny or anything like that. He would just spin and spin and spin, and I had to like have him stop because he would get dizzy and lose his balance. So that's something that started getting me worried. He would spin around these plants that my parents have in their front yard. It was like a set of plants, and he would just kind of go around and around and around, and he would focus on one point of the plant, and he would just do like his eyes to the, I don't know, to the side. It was like he was going like this, and he would just go around and around, and it was just behaviors that I was like, I don't know, I've never seen in another child before. And honestly, I don't have a lot of experience with other kids, so I wasn't sure. I just really had to do research and figure out if there was anything there really. The other thing, it was that he wasn't really responsive when people came into a room. It's not like he would be like, oh, daddy or mommy. I mean, you literally had to be like, hey, Ryan, like, I'm here, I just got here. Not every time. Sometimes he would look up, but it's not like. So yes, some of the other signs were that he had staring spells. Now this is something I didn't really notice or pay attention till maybe a couple months later, that I would look through other videos of him when he was like younger, and I was like, wow, he would just stare and stare and stare, and would be like, Ryan, Ryan. He would just be staring into the air. It was like he was like deep, thinking of something so deeply that he couldn't really hear us, Also, sometimes he would play with his toys, and he never really lined up to his toys, but he would play with the train that would go in circles, and he could just be staring at that train for a while. Like I said, not every behavior I mentioned it's a sign of autism. It's just kind of like if you see a couple of them, then you start worrying. You're like, okay, there's a couple of them, let me just get more information, maybe ask my his pediatrician, or ask around. I never knew anyone that had a child with autism, at least not something that they were open to talk about. So, I was like, I'm alone. Like, what am I gonna do? My family, didn't really want to believe that he had any behaviors. They just thought it was funny, or it was like, oh, he's just trying to keep busy, or they never saw anything bad. And I think nobody ever wants to think that their child is gonna be diagnosed with any type of condition, right? So it was definitely not easy to get to that point where I decided, or me and my husband decided, to get him evaluated. It took a couple months of doing a lot of thinking, research, and finally coming to that decision that that might be the best thing, to get him formally evaluated. What's wrong?
Is that a shock?
Is that in shock to the beach?
His eyelashes are so long.
Ryan! Ryan, what are you doing? Ryan! 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 Ryan, what are you doing, papash? Ryan. Ryan. Papash. What are you doing? Ryan. Ryan, what are you doing, mi amor? ¿Qué hace mi papash? What is papash doing? Babe. Hi, babe. Hi, babe. Ryan. Ryan, what are you doing, mi amor? Huh? What are you doing? Ryan.